The episode starts with Jean using his sword to cut his way through some vines and branches in the Emerald Forest. There's several leaves and twigs stuck to his clothes and hair, and he looks a little overwhelmed. That was crazy! Dear Lady Sarah, please give me strength and offer protection to all the other students, because that was just too crazy! As he finishes his sentence, he takes a big slice out of a curtain of vines and ends up walking off of the ledge of a ravine. He scrambles to maintain his balance, but ends up slipping and sliding down the wall of the ravine on his back, wailing in shock as he descends. Jean looks down towards where he's sliding towards and gasps. There's a person walking into his path. Look out! Jean's warning doesn't come fast enough, and Jean crashes into the person, sweeping their legs out from underneath them, and they fall and land on their back. Jean finally skids to a stop and sits upright, just as the other person does too, and Jean and Oscar sit up and make direct eye contact with each other. Oh, are you hurt? Are you? Oscar points at Jean, and we can see he looks clearly very disheveled and out of breath, but Jean gives a weak smile and a thumbs up as encouragement. We cut to Blake, using the blade of her weapon to latch onto a tree, then using the ribbon to swing herself to a safe landing. She stops and everything is eerily silent. She closes her eyes and we watch as her cat ears pivot, listening to the minute sounds of the forest. Finally, we hear the sounds of a chain, bullets, and Sun's voice. Blake pinpoints the direction of the noises and quickly climbs a tree, running across the tops of the branches to quickly get through the forest. As she runs, she readies her blade and bursts through a tree, slashing just in time to kill a leaping Ursa that was charging towards Sun's back. Sun has his gunchucks out and is landing a combo on another Ursa. Blake lands next to him and the two wombo combo the Grim until it finally dies. Thank the god of animals we found each other first. Those rules are so dumb, right? Like, what if the first person you make eye contact with is like a jerk or something? Gods aren't real. What? You don't believe in King Errol, god of animals? We have a job to do, so let's focus on finding our associates, please. Hey, how did you find me so fast anyways? Because you are very loud. Have you gotten any new messages from our associates? As Sun is shaking his head, Blake's scroll suddenly chimes. She pulls it out and are given coordinates and a map. Come on, let's not waste time. Finally, we're going to meet these mystery people. I wonder what stupid thing we'll have to do to guarantee we get on a team with them. Weiss sits in an auditorium. The seats are spacious and the room is filled with quiet chatter among the students. Weiss looks around. She sees students talking with each other to her left. There's a group of students laughing to her right. All around her, students are talking to each other, but she is sitting quietly by herself, alone. Finally, the lights in the room dim slightly and Ironwood walks onto the stage, speaking into a microphone. I will keep this brief. You are all attending this school in search of knowledge, to hone your skills in hopes of dedicating your life to protecting the people. Weiss smiles, sitting up more straight as he speaks. But I look amongst you, and right now, all I see is wasted potential. These words make Weiss's shoulders slump, the smile fading. You all are in need of purpose and direction. It is my hope that your time in this school will inspire you to use that potential to further yourselves, your knowledge, creativity, and the choices you make. But I can't make you reach those new heights. It is up to you to all take that first step. The auditorium fills with light applause. Weiss takes a deep breath and softly claps along, determination in her eyes. Now then, you all have passed your exams before entering the school. Me and my team have studied your various skills, and have decided on the teams of 4 you will be split into. If you check your scrolls now, you will see a training room number has been assigned to you. Meet with your teammates there. You each will use that training room to show each other your arsenal of abilities. Good luck. Weiss pulls out her scroll and quickly stands up, rushing out of the auditorium before most of the other students. She hurries to the assigned room and smiles, looking around. She's the first one there. She pulls out her rapier and checks the blade. Golly! Penny's voice makes Weiss scream in surprise, spinning around to see her. You must have been so excited to get here so fast. I practically ran myself. I'm Penny. It's a pleasure to meet you. Penny holds out her hand, and Weiss grimaces for a moment, then gingerly takes Penny's hand. Penny shakes Weiss's hand rather aggressively, not in a mean way, just in a way that makes Weiss's whole body jostle around. This is such an exciting day. I can't wait to show you what I can do, and I just can't wait to see what you can do too. Your rapier is so pretty. Golly, it's such a pleasure to meet you. Weiss rips her hand away from Penny, holding her wrist as if it stings. You already said that. Penny is quiet for a moment, thinking, before perking back up. So I did! Weiss grimaces more at Penny and takes a step away from her. What did you say your name was again? She's Weiss Schnee, Cinder says, entering the training room, looking coolly at Weiss as she speaks. Don't you know? She's the princess of the Schnee Dust Company, one of the largest producers of energy propellant in the world. It's heiress, actually, but finally some recognition. The same company known for its controversial labor forces and questionable business partners. As Ilya enters the room, Weiss's face turns red and she grits her teeth. What? How dare! Before Weiss can say anything else, though, Penny turns to the other girls. Salutations! I'm Penny Polendina. It's a pleasure to meet you. Ilya shakes Penny's hand, handling Penny's extreme shaking a lot better than Weiss did. Ilya Amalita, and though I'm not exactly an heiress, my family runs its own rather successful dust shop. I've heard Opal Industries, correct? Your family is slated to have over 100 stores open before the end of the year. Ilya smiles and nods. Weiss frowns and leers at Cinder as she shakes Penny's hand. And I am Cinder Obsidian, adopted daughter of Madame Obsidian, the owner of the Glass Unicorn, the highest-rated luxury hotel in Remnant. The four girls all face each other, quietly taking in each other's faces. Finally, Penny starts to hop excitedly. Well, who wants to show off their skills first? We cut to Weiss, readying herself with her rapier. The other three girls are behind a protective barrier at the side. A robotic female voice echoes around the room, saying, "Ready? Begin." A hologram appears of a King Taijutsu, and Weiss launches forward with the help of one of her glyphs. She starts with a combo ice attack and then rock attack to try to pin the snake's body to the ground. It easily breaks through, though, and Weiss jumps over its writhing body using a flame attack. She sends one elemental blast after the next, offering a few quick jabs with her blade as well. However, as she's spinning in midair from a strike, the second snake head comes from behind her and crashes into her body. She goes tumbling to the side, her rapier sliding a few feet away from her. She gasps as the two snakeheads turn to face her, and she scrambles to her feet to grab her weapon. She grabs it and turns, just in time to form a shield made of wind, bouncing the snake's head back. She poses, her rapier glows solid white, and then she zooms forward, slicing the hologram clean in half. The two sides of the snake disappear into glowing bits of data. She turns to the other three and smirks. That was a lot of fun! Exactly what I'd expect from the Princess of Dust. Weiss walks past them, folding her arms. It's heiress. Now why don't you show us what you have to offer now, Gladly. Cinder walks calmly into the room, the hologram of the King Taijutsu reappearing. Ready? Begin. Cinder draws her bow and launches a quick flurry of arrows into the Grim. One of the heads flies at her and she raises a hand, grabbing hold of one of its fangs in her grasp. Weiss gasps at first, but leans in closer and sees that Cinder's palm is glowing red hot. The snake hologram screams as it melts off one of its fangs. With her other hand, she detaches one of the blades from her bow and jams it into the snake's eye. She quickly jumps, avoiding a strike from the second head, and lands on top of it. She draws her other blade and sinks both of them into the back of the Grim. She runs down the length of its whole body, carving the King Taijutsu's back, until finally she reaches the other head, and the hologram disappears, lifelessly. Weiss's jaw drops open, and Penny jumps up and down. Wow, that was also so fun! My turn. Ilya doesn't wait for Cinder to get back to the others before charging into the room. Ilya readies her electrified whip pistol as the next hologram appears. Cinder reconvenes with the others, crossing her arms and looking curiously at Ilya. Weiss shoots her a cold glance but says nothing. Ready? Begin. Ilya darts around the Grim, lashing out with her whip multiple times. The two heads spin, trying to keep up with her, but Ilya starts to crisscross over the serpentine body. The King Taijutsu starts to get tied up within itself. Ilya pulls out another dust cartridge and jams it into her pistol, and suddenly glows purple instead of its usual yellow. With a quick slash, the gravity dust envelops the snake's body, making it float slightly off the ground. Ilya darts underneath its body and roars as she shoots and stabs her weapon through its intertwined form. The hologram disappears again. Wow, you're all so fun! Ilya comes back into the room with the others. Alright, you're the only one that's left, Penny. This ought to be interesting. Penny smiles and nods, walking briskly into the training room. Weiss sneers at Cinder. What makes you think she is going to be interesting? She's not even taking this seriously. Because I have absolutely no idea who that girl is. Weiss blinks at Cinder, confused, and Ilya speaks up. True, we all have famous names. What kind of power does she have that makes her on the same level as the three of us? Weiss crosses her arms and stares at Penny intensely. The hologram reforms in front of her. Ready? Begin. As soon as the voice finishes, dozens of swords spring out of the pack on her back. She does a spin, and the flying barrage of blades tears through the Grim. With 2 more twirls from Penny, the Grim is in ribbons. Weiss gasps. Cinder places a hand over her mouth in shock, and Ilya laughs heartily. Penny trots back in with the others, a bright smile on her face. How was I? How did... Weiss mumbles, unable to form a cohesive thought. Ilya slaps Penny on the back. That was amazing! I've never seen anything like it! Penny shrugs, blushing a bright red. Aw, it's nothing. You just need to know where to hit these holograms in the right spots to make it easier. And how do you know that? Oh, my dad invented almost all of these holograms and training stuff. Weiss's jaw drops again, and Cinder shakes her head, chuckling to herself. I guess Polendina is going to be a name worth remembering. The robotic lady's voice echoes around them again. Congratulations, you have been assigned the team name Posey. Team leader, Penny Polendina. Congratulations. Penny gasps, and Ilya wraps her in a one-armed hug. Cinder claps and smiles, but Weiss stands slightly back, a shocked, cold expression on her face as she stares at the 3 women in front of her. Her expression changes into an angry grimace. RWBY stands face to face with Neo. She laughs nervously. Oh, hi again. You know, I never did get your name. Neo smiles, and once again, her eyes and hair change to match Ruby's. RWBY waits for a second, but Neo still doesn't speak. You know, I really am sorry about the luggage, and it looks like we're partners now. Neo's hair and eyes change back to normal, and her face changes to surprise. So, could you please just tell me your name already? Neo's hair changes to black with white stripes, and her eyes change to red with yellow pupils. Neo smacks RWBY's shoulder and points behind her. RWBY turns and yells as a pack of Beowulfs charge the girls. The 2 dive in opposite directions. RWBY unfolds Crescent Rose in scythe form. Across the way, Neo opens her parasol. What are you doing? You need to get your weapon! RWBY defends herself from a slashing Grim. She kills it quickly, and is startled as another Beowulf flies past her and dies as it crashes into a tree. She looks over and watches as Neo expertly dodges and batters the Grim. Her high kicks and evasion means the Grim keep hitting each other. RWBY goes back to fighting to handle her own batch of Beowulfs. More and more keep coming though, and RWBY crashes into Neo. Neo stomps in anger and pushes RWBY away from her with her parasol. RWBY stumbles, and the blade of Crescent Rose spins, slicing a Beowulf in half, but barely missing Neo, who backflips in time to dodge the blade. RWBY gasps from the close call, but while she's distracted, another Beowulf slams a heavy paw into her, making her tumble into Neo again. Neo huffs and grabs RWBY's wrist, pulling her away from the Grim. Hey! Neo ignores her and keeps them moving, running off into the forest away from the Grim. Yang, Mercury, Nora, and Vernal hide in the shadows of an alleyway, watching as various students walk past. Haven Academy is close by, towering at the top of the cliffside. The 4 slip into a crowd of people, all riding a mechanized lift up to the entrance of the school. As the majority of the crowd heads towards the school's front doors, Yang and her team sneak back down behind the dorm room buildings. We're heading to that window. Vernal points to a high window on one of the taller towers. Make sure you're quiet and try not to be seen. Obviously. You think we don't know that? I don't know. You always seem to be yelling. You want me to knock your lights out? Nora slaps both girls' arms. Stop it! The girls glare at each other, but say nothing more. The 4 sneak around the building and climb up some boxes to get up onto one of the lower rooftops. The window they need to reach is still about 30 feet above them, though. I'll be able to fly up there with my maiden powers. She smiles. So what can you all do? Yang starts to move, but Mercury raises his hand. I'm going first. I can't stand your bickering anymore. He hits his robotic legs, and the soles of his feet pivot slightly. The angle they've moved allows him to dig his heels slightly into the wall, and he quickly climbs up it. He gets to the window and rattles it, tisking to himself as he pulls out a screwdriver from his pocket and starts to pick the lock. Nora offers a hand to Vernal. Can you juice me up, Spring Maiden? Vernal grabs her hand, and a surge of electricity courses through Nora. The sparks turn pink as they course around her. She scrunches up, and with a streak of pink lightning, she leaps straight upwards. Mercury, who has successfully opened the window, grabs onto Nora's hand and helps pull her into the room. Yang and Vernal stare each other down for a second, and Yang steps forward. She runs and is able to run up the side of the building for a few feet. Once she can't fight gravity anymore, she leaps off the building and fires a shot from her gauntlets, and the force of the bullets push her body back up towards the window. Mercury and Nora grab hold of her and pull her up. Vernal quickly flies up after them, as if the wind itself carried her. What was that? I told you to be quiet! It's a Huntsman Academy. I'm sure there's rounds going off all the time. Gods, you are such an insufferable brat. Stop it. We should hurry this up. The four look around the room. It's an office with a large wooden desk and a seating area off to the side. There's piles of books and pages on all of the shelves and desks. The four start rummaging through the papers. What are we even looking for? You saw what the relic looks like. Maybe there's a drawing of it somewhere. Or look for the words relic or spring maiden or something. Ying opens up a book, but stops as she notices a rattling sound. She looks over and points. We've got trouble. The four stop and turn to see that the doorknob rattles as someone starts to unlock the door. Blake and Sun are next to a small cave opening. Sun is using his feet to pick up rocks and tries kicking them into the mouth of the cave. Blake looks around, noticing very old paintings depicting a scorpion and people with spears. Sun kicks another rock and it clatters at the cave again. What's taking them so long? Weren't they supposed to meet us here by now? Humans never keep their word. It's not our fault. Blake turns and sees the twins, Melanie and Milsha, emerging from the trees. This forest is full of Grimm. You're Torchwick's associates? Ugh, please. I don't want to be associated with that Torchwick dude. He's a small fry. Sun kicks another rock into the cave. It loudly rattles around. A low growling noise echoes from the hole, and sand falls from the cavern entrance, but none of them notice. Well then who's the big fry? Oh no, we're not sharing anything with you two until we know you can handle yourselves. Listen, we've already had to go really far out of our way for your crew. I'm getting pretty sick of being kept in the dark. Don't forget, we hired you. We can take our money elsewhere. Sun kicks another rock and it whizzes down the cavern, echoing loudly as it crashes into something. Suddenly, loud growling echoes from the cavern. Sun backpedals away from it and the girls all turn around quickly to face him. A huge crack splits open above the small cavern entrance. Oh man, run! The four run back into the trees as a huge Deathstalker crashes through the cavern, blowing out its entrance and roars angrily and charges after them. Shout out to my $10 patrons, you're all amazing. Andrew, Valhalla Knight, Chamomile, Classy Critic, Noah Perkins, Sunny Shy, Genital War Thunder, Jake, Amber, Hype Man, Isaiah, Scaring Crows, Not All That Evil, Messiah Complex, Jacob, Ben's Sketchbook, Rain, Omega Fighter, Trash, Wild Pilot, Josh, Twisty, Juan, Bunkin Duncan, Lycan99, Hoodie Angel, Ranger, and Hut Mutt Butt. I hope you had fun with episode 3. Things are happening. I'm so excited. We're getting a glimpse of teams now. What do you all think? What do you think of the art? This was an art-heavy episode because of all the action and stuff. What do you think? Is there any way I can improve this story? Like help with your viewing experience? Any and all help and advice? Any opinions you have about the direction of the story or the characters? I'd love to see them. I want this to be really good and I want you to have a good time with it. So I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. Any and all thoughts and opinions, please leave them in the comments below. I would love to see them. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.